critical passes there where he threw it into the end zone, and obviously they connected on him. But I'm really concerned about our offense not being on the field at all because they're just giving 3 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards to Derrick Henry, and he's got the physical stature to hold up to that. People don't realize this, but, I mean, Derrick Henry is the best high school football player ever.
12,000 yards he ran for in high school. 12,000 yards? That's unbelievable.
If you go back and you look at some of his stats in high school, and then also you look at the footage, he's probably a little heavier now, but he was the same size in high school.
He was just trucking guys.
Yeah, and it's 1A. He's from this real small town in Florida, so they're not playing against 6A, 5A schools. Now he's playing against other 1A, and the people that are trying to tackle him, it's like, oh my goodness, you feel sorry for those guys. But he was the same stature in high school, and obviously he's continued to be that way. So people haven't been able to tackle. It's probably the most dominant running back performance as far as like somebody playing that way since Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
And that's what it harkens back to me is Earl Campbell and the way he just like people did not want to tackle him and he was seeking contact.
Earl Campbell was just maybe the toughest run. Now you go back and you look at some of the Jim Brown footage. I mean, similar run over people. You know, Jim Brown could play today. Earl Campbell could play today. And with Derrick Henry, 3 consecutive games over 180 yards rushing. It's never been done in NFL history. Jim Brown never did it. Barry Sanders never did it. Emmitt Smith never did it. Only Derrick Henry has done it.
And not only has he done it, he's done it on a playoff stage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing to me that just blows you away, that 2 of those games obviously were playoff games. And everybody knows what's happening. I mean,
he's getting the football.
He's getting the football, and people are, what do the Ravens need to do? They already have 8 men in the box. You know, how many more do you want them to put in the box? And it's business decisions at the end of it. Do you want to tackle this man or not? But the stiff arm that he gave to who was a former Seattle Seahawk, Earl Thomas. I mean, stiff arm to the face, and then
that's a Pro Bowler. That's an All-Pro safety.
And then to add insult to the injury, I'm just stiff arming you in the back. Just I really don't need to do this, but I'm gonna embarrass you by stiff arming you again in the back.
Let me ask you this, okay? As you watch Patrick Mahomes play live yesterday, and we've obviously seen him many times on television watching him play, is he the Steph Curry of the NFL?
Well, to me, the thing that's so different about him is his arm angles. And, you watch it on TV, but when you're sitting there watching it live, I mean, it doesn't matter. There's people obviously jumping up trying to bat down passes. Obviously, if you can't get to the quarterback, you're taught to jump up and try to bat down passes. His arm angles, and you could tell he used to be a pitcher because he's just throwing his side arm. He'll slightly come over this way. I mean, he'll step up here. And then added to the fact that he's a legitimate threat to run the ball. And then he just has courage, to just fit it in the tight pocket. Some of the throws that he threw, especially when you're running to the outside of the pocket, you're never supposed to throw it back to the middle. That's been a rule in NFL for the longest. That's
like in
automatic
basketball,
interception.
do not give up the baseline.
Yeah, so
don't throw back across your body.
Don't throw it back across the body to the middle. And he just does it, and he has confidence in his arm. And he has confidence in the receiver. So, I don't know when you have all of that speed and then Travis Kelce as a weapon. My son was sitting there saying, like, why do they keep throwing it to Travis Kelce, in the red zone? I said, because, he's bigger and stronger than everybody else, and he's open, and he has confidence just to throw it in there. So.
And he caught 3 touchdowns
Exactly.
yesterday. All right, but, you watch Steph Curry play, and you would not say, hey, go ahead and launch from 28 feet if you're Patrick Mahomes. No, you're not supposed to make a throw like that. I just think he's kind of like a Steph Curry of the NFL. He's just a different breed. We haven't seen anything like Steph Curry. I don't think we've seen anything like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and the danger that you have now is, and I don't know, obviously you got the new advent of Patrick Mahomes, but you've seen it with Steph Curry where everybody else thinks they can do the things that Steph Curry does. That you can shoot from 28 feet, that you can come in off the dribble and take quick shots. But now I wonder this new age and generation of quarterbacks they're going to think they can do the things that Patrick Mahomes does. And then now you have all of these interceptions and all of these turnovers where guys are trying to do things that they're not physically capable of doing, like Patrick Mahomes is special, just like Steph Curry is special. So, it's just interesting. You go watch any basketball game now. I go watch my sons play. I go watch high school, go watch junior college, and guys come up to warm up. First thing they do is just start jacking from 25 feet, 28 feet.
Well, and a lot more of the young people now, physically, you might say, oh, LeBron James. No, but physically you can be Steph Curry. And guys, kids, they're like, hey, I'm Steph Curry.
Yeah, it's relatable. There's no question about it.
Hey, we want to invite you to come by. Where are you going to watch the national championship football game tonight? We invite you to come to Wings, where they've got 69-cent wings tonight for the football game. Every Monday, but 69 cents for the wings. Come watch the national championship here. You're probably going to be eating wings anyway. You're going to be eating something. So why not do it here with all kinds of football fans? It's going to be fun. So we invite you to make sure it's Wings, etc. tonight for the national championship game. All right. We look back at the Tennessee State game. I mean, you were this close to winning that basketball game. 75-73. Tennessee State led for only 1 minute and 56 seconds, I believe, of that game. You led for over 33 minutes, and somehow they found a way to pull it out at the end. I know I talked to you after the game. That was disappointing. You guys were that close to pulling that win.
Yeah, that was a gut punch right there, to be honest with you. I mean, our guys, I thought, did everything they needed to do, and they deserved to win that. We've been having our struggles. We've been playing some really quality teams to open up OVC play here. And so I just thought that we went out and executed and did some things that had a really good defensive performance with some of the things that we were trying to do and trying to prevent. And for us to end up losing that game the way that we lost it really was hard. Now, we had a situation there where we have to get that defensive rebound. Not giving that defensive rebound and giving them an opportunity to score really hurt us. But I thought that we became really stagnant against their zone. And I know that's what happens when people play zone. They think they got to stand around. But we just didn't keep our same movement that we had against their man defense. And if we'd have just kept that, I thought that we'd have been fine. Now, we had a couple crucial mistakes. I thought the beginning of the second half was atrocious. I mean, we had the 3 turnovers in a row, and then we had opportunities.
Is that a lack of focus? What do you think that is when you come out? Because I'm sure you gave them a great speech at halftime, and hey, everything's going well. Here's our game plan, and you come out turnover. What as a coach, how do you look at that and say, why did that happen?
Yeah, I think if I knew the answer to that, I mean,
right.
I mean, it's just unbelievable the start that we had there, and we couldn't sub or get a timeout fast enough in order to stop that because, not only did we have the turnovers, but defensively we had opportunities where they just broke down our defense and went right by us. And so I know sometimes, we as staff to talk about our help defense wasn't there, but when you get beat so bad, there's no chance for your opportunity for help defense to rotate over. So that's individual defense. So I just thought the start of the second half was really bad for us. We had an opportunity. I think it was a 9-point ball game at halftime for us to kind of stretch it out into double digits, but we did the exact opposite.
Well, when you look at the way that you played defense, you played good enough defense to win that basketball game.
Yeah, and we did some things offensively. We had been struggling shooting the ball some, and we were able to knock down some shots. Isaiah Gable got some things going. Obviously, Alex Caldwell had a good game for us and was able to give us a scoring punch, him coming back from battling with the flu. I thought Jordan Love came off the bench there and did a phenomenal job.
You're giving him a lot more minutes.
Well, I mean, he really made a huge difference on the defensive end because sometimes you have all these schemes, and I always tell the best way you can help guys, help our team defensively and scheme-wise is just guard your man without any help. And so they had a couple of guys there with Carlos Marshall and the Little John kid that he just, with his ability to move his feet and his length, was able just to really bother guys. So I just thought, hey, offensively he does some things on the court that some other guys can't do just naturally. But I thought defensively his individual defense was a huge help to us.
Did he just earn himself more playing time with that performance?
If he continues to play like that. I mean, that's the thing about it. I mean, it can't be a one-time affair. It has to be something that this is him and this is what he's going to do. But if he's going to defend like that and be a solid offensive player, which we know he's capable of doing, then yeah, he's going to help us. There's no question about it.
Well, I mean, do you and your assistant coaches, do you reinforce stuff like that, and so a guy gets a little hungrier and knows that, hey, I have a chance to get on the floor a lot more than I have in the past if I just do this.
Yeah, but it's got to be who you are. I mean,
Okay.
so you can't come back. To me, I always say you just can't do it in a game. So if we come back and we practice, and now you're not performing that way in practice, then I can't reward you. And so that's the thing behind the scenes that people obviously don't see. Are you taking care of your business off the court? Are you being on time? Are you doing what you're supposed to do in the weight room, in the classroom? Are you going to go see the trainer? You know, those little things. But then more importantly, in practice, are you competing the same way that you need to compete day in, day out in order for you to earn that opportunity to get those playing times once it comes game day?
Because let's face it, Jordan Love is a freshman, and this is it's a big jump. I mean, to go from high school basketball to playing Division I. I mean, everything is totally different, and it takes some guys longer to transition. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, there's no question about it. Sometimes it's the level of competition, obviously, because if you haven't played against that type of competition day in and day out, it can be a shock to your system. A lot of guys physically just can't handle that. I mean, so you're going from a situation where you've been playing against guys that look like you, but now all of a sudden you're playing against guys who are 21 years old, 22 years old, that's had 3 or 4 years in the weight room on you, and physically you just get dominated, especially when you talk about the inside presence or getting to a rim or around the paint. So there's that adjustment, and then some guys, they're homesick. They're away from their girlfriend, some things like that. You don't know all the factors that go into it, and so it is a huge jump and a huge adjustment.
Coach, Quatarius Wilson is playing better basketball for you. What has been the thing that you've identified to all of a sudden he's a factor for you?
Well, the first thing is, I mean, he just fought us day in and day out about using his left hand. The way college basketball is taught now, people crowd you and wall up when you're in the paint, and so he was trying to constantly go across people's body in order to finish, and you can't do that because first of all, they're not calling a foul, and then it affects your shot, so you're not getting a chance to finish. So I thought in the last game against Belmont, it was the first time that he actually used his left hand around the rim. You can't be a one-arm guy. So I thought that's the biggest.
They scout that in video immediately.
Oh, no question about it. I always tell our guys, hey, you know how we guys show you film and we have scouting reports, and then we also show you people's tendencies and what they're trying to do. Other teams are allowed to do that too. And so
Right.
they have scouts. And so sometimes, we'll call a play, and so the guys will say, like, Coach, they know the play. Yeah, just like we know their play.
Right.
I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But, to me, you have to be able to understand what people are trying to do, and they were just forcing him to not go to his right and go over his left shoulder. So you had to be in a situation, hey, they're forcing him to go left. You got to use your left hand.
So is that? Does he use specific drills in practice where you would say, hey, we want to see you go to the left hand?
Tons. The individual work that we put in with our guys and our assistants do a great job with it. Obviously, we sit down and we meet and we talk about, hey, what do we need our individual guys to work on in order to get better, in order to help the team? And so right now we're doing, hey, we have a practice session, and then we come back and we do individual work, and we also lift weights in groups. So in that individual work, you may spend 45 minutes and, hey, like with Sage Tolbert, it's just simple finishes around the rim. I mean, we need you to be able to get and ones in those situations. And then for different guys, it might be dribbling with their left hand or manipulating ball screens or be able to make pocket passes. Just whatever that deficiency is, we're going to work with you on that during that time span.
Tennessee State appears to be a pretty good team. I mean, you just look at records. I mean, you're playing the top teams in the OVC to start your season, and here comes Austin Peay and Murray State. I mean, the schedule makers didn't help you out at all this year, did they?
Yeah, and obviously those things are done so far in advance, and they didn't know that Tennessee State was going to have this type of personnel. Personnel-wise, Tennessee State might have the most talented team in the OVC.
They got transferred from Louisville,
West Virginia,
and I don't know, there was another. Anyway, they've 3 major programs that they've got transfers from, and in addition to some of the other veterans that they've got.
Yeah, they're a really talented team. They're long, they're active, they're athletic. They pose some problems for you with their length. And then also the skill level, especially a guy like Harris that can play both the so-called 3 spot and the 4 spot and his athleticism. So I thought the way they were set up and then the length that they have in that zone when they went to zone, they were able to hey, we're trying to reverse the ball, or we get in there and we make a great play, but we can't make the right pass because of their length. So I think they're a very talented team.
By the way, when players come on this coach's show, they always have big performances. We just had Isaiah Gable. He came out and he was. I mean, he can really get hot at times, can he?
Yes, and that's what quite frankly, we need from him. He's a guy for us that's got to be able to stretch the defense and be able, a guy that say the other team is worried about him where he is on the court because, A, it provides a scoring threat. And then it also provides spacing for other guys that can penetrate and make plays, or you throw the ball into the post. Now they're not able to come double or dig because they're worried about his propensity to be able to make three-point shots. So we need him to make three-point shots. And then also when people run out to him, he has the ability to make the right read and the right decision once he gets that shot fake and starts going to the penetration.
The old saying about keep feeding the guy who's hot, keep feeding the guy who's hot. Do coaches do that? I mean, do you do that? You say, hey, our guy's hot. The offense has to run through him at the moment.
Yeah, you have certain plays, and if a play is working, you just keep going back to it till the opposing team stops it. Or if you have something where you got a guy that's cooking, you try to make sure you give him as many opportunities as possible.
Alex Caldwell was the player of the year in South Carolina. I'm sure that he was being recruited by a lot of schools. How did you get Alex Caldwell to come to SEMO?
Well, I think the first thing is from my time there at Clemson, I had some ties there, and I knew his AAU coach, and I knew some of the people around there. But I think the biggest thing is just the relationship piece of it. His mom is an unbelievable person. She's a former basketball coach herself. She's a high school administrator, but she was just a straight shooter. Oftentimes when you go in and you tell parents the truth about how you want to do things and how you go about your business, and it's not the fan and fair and pomp and circumstance. You just, hey, this is real, this is simple, this is how we go about our business. Sometimes that turns people off because they want to get recruited in a certain way. They want the fanfare. But then other people, hey, they like the direct approach about, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to go about it. This is what we're going to do for your son outside of basketball. And for his mom, that really rung home true. So I just think that she is a really quality person. And so she is directing Alex, and he's been raised the right way. And so now I end up meaning something, the relationship piece of it. So we had some people, because of my times in Clemson, that told us about him, and we went out and recruited him. And it really was a situation as we continue to go through the recruiting process. You kind of narrow in and focus in on guys, and especially after we got a chance to see him play extensively in the AAU. And then I had an opportunity to go watch him play high school practice and be around that area and sit down and visit with him. We knew that was a guy that was number one on our list.
All right, before we bring Alex on, one of the Red Hawk fans asked me, during that game against Tennessee State, there was one point in time where you sat down in your chair and you kind of leaned back and you said something to the official, and he started laughing and you started laughing. We got to know what was said right there.
Well, obviously I didn't agree with the call, but more importantly, not agreeing with the call, I just said to him, it happened, the call so late. It was basically 2 seconds after everything occurred. And I just simply said to the guy, hey, if we was playing playground pickup basketball and somebody called that, they wouldn't get that call because you got to call it when it happens. And so I said if I was on the opposing team, there would have been a fight, a physical fight if somebody tried to get that call. So that's what I was conveying to him. I might not say it in those words. Might have said it a little differently, but something to that degree.
I'm sure I haven't seen as many college basketball games as you have, but I've seen a lot of college basketball games over the years. And an official will tell you, they will swear on a stack of Bibles that they do not go with a whistle or a non-whistle as to whether or not the ball went in the hoop.
Yeah. That's not
Do
true.
you believe that? Because I don't believe it. Sometimes, like, the shot goes up, and all of a sudden the ball doesn't go in the hoop, and then they blow the whistle.
Yeah,
they say they don't,
Yeah.
but you're never going to convince me that doesn't happen. You've
Yeah.
seen a lot of college hoops. What do you think?
Yeah, they wait for the result at times. I
Yes.
mean, it depends on the official, and usually it's a good official that calls when it happens and just calls it the right way. But a lot of guys, wait on results, and those guys are not the good officials.
Result-oriented basketball, absolutely. We're going to talk with Alex. By the way, before we bring Alex on, is there anybody that talks on the floor more than Alex on your roster?
About the actual stuff.
Just talking.
The actual stuff that matters.
When he hits a shot or when he was talking to somebody, he's getting somebody's ear. Is there anybody that chatters more than Alex Caldwell?
Yeah, I wish he would chatter more about the things that I want him to chatter about, like what defense we're in and calling out down screens. But he's got some histrionics when he makes big time plays. So these guys these days, they got all these different things they do. It used to be the bow and arrow, and now it's the three right here. Now some guys just stare at their hand. I mean, there's so many different things, but whatever floats your boat, I guess.
All right, we'll talk with the boat floater, Alex Caldwell, when we come back. It's the Red Hawks Coaches Show at Wings Etc. in Cape on SEMO ESPN.
Does having a game on the TV make a sports bar? Wings Etc. in Cape and Jackson begs to differ. They take their sports bar status seriously. Wings Etc. is the host of the SEMO Coaches Show every Monday from noon to 1. You can watch.
On Mondays, their award-winning jumbo wings are just 69 cents. So take advantage of that tonight. Come on out, watch the College Football National Championship. You can watch college football, the National Championship game, and the Blues are playing. So they'll have the Blues on some TVs. They'll have the National Championship on other TVs. This is the place to be. They'll have college hoops on. So this is the place tonight for the Natty, the National Championship game between Clemson and the LSU Tigers. We're joined by Alex Caldwell, sophomore guard for the Red Hawks. You were telling me that what you had for lunch. What was on the menu for you today?
I got the traditional wings, got the Blazing Asian and lemonade for the water. I had to keep the water get hydrated. So,
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you got the water, but the Blazing Asian. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of the Blazing Asian. Is that your go-to here?
Yeah. I mean, I've been here like twice. So every time I get those, but the dessert, the Oreos, Most definitely. That was good.
I'm a big Oreo guy. Now,
Yes, sir.
when they have the fair here, the SEMO District Fair, have
yeah.
you ever been to the SEMO District Fair here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you had the deep fried Oreos?
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
ooh. That's near the
Yeah.
top of the list for me.
Yeah.
Give me some deep fried Oreos. All right, you grew up in South Carolina. Tell us what that was like at Columbia. Now I know that's what's listed as your hometown. Is that where you grew up?
That's where I grew up. Now I stay in Florence, South Carolina now. I moved there my sophomore year in high school. So, but yeah, born and raised in Columbia, South Carolina.
All right. Now we did talk about a little bit of it last year when John Morant jumped onto the stage. You know, playing at Murray State, and I mean he may be the rookie of the year in the NBA right
yes,
now
sir.
with the Memphis Grizzlies. But you grew up playing with John Morant.
Yes, sir. I
You're
did.
both from South Carolina. Tell us about that.
Play on the same AAU team about 5 years since we've been younger. Been playing basketball together since we've been 6. So it was called LC Ravens, and then we split, and he went to another team. I went to another team, but playing with him was the same.
Who was the best player on the team when you played with him?
That's a good debate. I mean, I can say we was equal. We was equal.
Well, what makes him so good?
He's smart. Everything he does, he's a good player. Very athletic too, as y'all can see. But yeah, he's a smart player.
All right. When you decided that you were going to come here to Southeast Missouri State, tell us a little bit about the recruiting process. With the first time you talked with Coach Ray and maybe some other schools that were interested, and you decided, nope, this is the place I'm coming, Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Had you even heard of Cape Girardeau, Missouri?
No, I didn't. Got off the plane, I thought I was already here when I got to St. Louis. I thought that, I was already here. And then Coach was like, you got an hour drive. I'm like, an hour drive? Just like, I think I was here already. So pulled up to this town. I'm like, okay, it's a little town. Remind me of home a little bit. So got there, and Coach Ray was talking to me and telling me everything that, that they were the truth, how you told me. And, I think that he caught my, attention when he was telling me how they play and how we can do this and how I can fit into the system and everything. So, but yeah, most definitely that.
Okay, now let me ask you. You go in and you see the Show Me Center. I think you didn't see it before. They put the video board in and they did all the changes of the seats and the LED lighting and the sound system. And they did a lot of work on the Show Me Center.
Yes,
when you walked into the Show Me Center, is that something where you're like, yeah, I want to play my games here? Because we hear so often about how important facilities are for guys who are going to make their recruiting decisions.
Yes, I seen the Show Me Center and was amazed how big it was, and how arenas are different from playing in different arenas and everything. But I seen the Show Me Center. It was sight to see.
So I mean, had we had a facility like Eastern Illinois, you probably wouldn't have come. Is that what you're saying?
Nah, I wouldn't say that, but it would be a big part, though. It would be a big part.
Okay, so that just verifying that, facilities are very important, I know, for young people. When you look at the way that everything shook out in the Tennessee State game, I want to know about that final play. Were you going to shoot the ball? You passed it late. Had you passed it a second earlier, I think Q probably puts it in, because I thought for sure that you're taking that shot. I mean, you just, in your 2 seasons, or a season and a half so far, you shown me that you want the ball, you want to take that shot. You've hit a lot of big shots late in games. I thought for sure you were going to shoot that ball.
Yes, sir. It was supposed to go up, but I think I was being, unselfish, a little unselfish, get my teammates.
So you thought, hey, I think he can get the I think he can get the basket.
He can get the easy too.
How many times does it roll back in your head? Man, I wish I could go and get that final play. It doesn't mean you're going to hit the shot, but how many times, at the end of a game, situations like that, how many times have you thought about that since then?
A lot, but I mean, you got to keep moving on from it and learn from it.
What is it where guys want to take that shot? Like I've seen you take it a lot. And then you've probably played with guys, I don't want to take that shot. You don't seem to be that kind of guy, but have you played with guys who are like, no, I really don't want to take that shot?
Yeah, I play with guys like that, but at the same time, it's not for everyone. So the ones that do want to take a shot, you got to give it to them. The ones that don't, you just got to watch.
And that's the thing, you look back at Kobe Bryant was always known as a closer. Michael Jordan was a closer. Yeah. But if you go back and look, Jordan missed a lot of last-second shots. I mean, I don't know if he missed more than he made. We only see the ones that he made. You see the highlight reel, but you gotta. I would think, and I'll get your opinion. Do you have to have a different mentality to be the guy that wants to take the shot?
Oh yes, sir. It's really a mental thing. It's really practice. Them guys put in like a lot of work and practice. They go in the gym and take a lot of shots, like tough shots like that to make game winners. So yeah.
You looked like you were feeling it on Saturday against Tennessee State. Were you feeling it? And
yes,
what's
sir.
that like when you're feeling it?
When you're in the zone, it's focus. It's over focus. You feel, like nobody can stop you. So yeah.
Well, you get pretty excited when you hit a big shot. What's that all about?
It's just the love for the game, the energy. That's why I just love the game. I love the plays that I make for my teammates and me.
Do your coaches tell you they love that energy and that we need this energy on our team?
Most definitely, yes, sir. They always tell me it starts with me. So.
Well, what are the kind of things? Because I see you chirping.
Yes,
I see you talking when you're out there. What kind of conversations are there that go on sometimes?
A lot of those conversations, it's a little chatter, but it'd be good chatter to my teammates. Like, let's keep going, let's keep pushing. Sometimes it'd be towards them if they talk first.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah.
give me a little chatter between you and maybe Tennessee State or some other teams. What kind of conversations go on out there?
I mean, they say we can't guard them, so we come back and we score on them. They can't guard us. So it's different type of conversations, but yeah, it's mainly guarding. If you can't guard nobody, you're gonna get talked about. So.
All right. Well, you can get hot shooting the basketball. Who's the best shooter on the team?
Oof. I can say Isaiah. Zay can get hot real quick and real fast to the point that he make threes and you could be down. Even in practice, we'll be up 9. He'll hit 3 of them and we'll be tired quick in like a minute. So yeah, Isaiah.
Now you made a shot the other night. I don't know how you got it off. First of all, I don't know how it went in. But you contorted your body. You're in there. I mean, all kinds of big bodies in there, and somehow you flip it in. Do you practice shots like that, or man, can you practice shots like that? Man, that was an unbelievable shot, and I've seen you hit several of shots like that.
Yeah, you go in there and practice on putting the ball high and soft. That's what Coach Ray, all the coaches tell us when we go to individual workouts, work on floaters a lot and just finishing. That's it. A lot of that.
Well, since you are not a big guard,
yeah.
So in terms of height, you have started to develop this floating runner, man, and this teardrop floater that you're throwing in. I mean, you're getting really good at that. I would almost say right now that's almost your signature shot. How much do you work on that shot?
I work on it a lot. Last year I didn't have that in my in my package at all. Then Coach Ray everybody started telling me, he was like, you got to change it up. You can't go in there and just jump over everybody. So I was like, I got to find a floater. So all summer I've been working on that. Then summer turned into winter, so now it's paying off.
Boy, I mean, you're really doing a good job with that thing. How far out is too far for that shot?
Oh, about a little bit. Say about 2 feet inside of the three-point line. I'll say about that, but anywhere in that 2-point area, I got to get the floater off.
So you think I mean, for like 17 feet out isn't too far?
Nah, it's all about the touch. You got to get a little touch in it.
All right, you are a good free throw shooter too, and that is usually because there's a lot of work that is involved with guys who are good free throw shooters. How much time do you put on free throw shooting?
A lot. After every little segment of the workout, if I just get shots up, say 100 shots, I at least got to make 20 free throws before I leave. Try to get 5 in a row, because if I don't get 5 in a row, I got to run from them.
So you work on the free throws a lot. When you think about the end of games,
yeah.
Do you feel more – I mean, because, when we're broadcasting games and we're talking about, okay, hey, it's crunch time, it's late in the game, it's a close game, do you feel more pressure at the free throw line in a close game late than we're 2 minutes into the game and somebody fouls you on the arm and you go to the free throw line? Is it different? What's it feel like?
Yeah, it's very different, because that basket can make a break, and that's when your mental have to take over. So,
Who do you think's the best free throw shooter?
man, I want to say myself, but
Go ahead. You can say you.
DQ has he shoots a really good percentage too. So yeah,
I think he had a stretch. Didn't he have a
Yeah.
16 for 16
he
stretch?
shoot. Yeah, I think he was 16. Might have been 16.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So I know, obviously, he's a guy that
Mm.
that works on it a lot. Best player you ever played against or with? Would it have to be John Morant or?
Played against, where it had to be Ja. Played with had to be Zion.
You played with Zion Williamson.
Yeah, it was an All-Star game.
What was that like?
Just throw the ball up to the rim. He go get it.
Have you ever seen a freak athlete like that guy?
Man, no. It was amazing. I was throwing bad lobs. I was like, oh, as I was throwing them, I was like, it's a bad lob. He just catching and dunking. So it's just, yeah. Playing with him makes the game easier though.
That's got to be cool. So do you keep in contact with Ja at all?
Oh, I do, most definitely. Before games, after games, I watch his games. Takes him good job, keep it up. He texts me then and there, talk. So
I was going to say, have you become a Memphis Grizzlies fan now?
can't do that.
Who's your team?
I used to be a Thunder fan. I like Westbrook, but I mean,
So are you a Rockets fan now?
nah, I'm not a Rockets
Can't
fan.
do it.
I can't do it.
What do you think when you're a good offensive basketball player. What do you think when you watch James Harden play?
That's different. His game is very different. He's
Very
changing the
different.
game. He's changing the game, especially with the one-on-one type game.
Do you think he's a ball hog?
That's how he gets his buckets. So
Yeah.
you just got to get his buckets. No, I don't think he's a ball hog, especially in pick and roll. People don't look at him getting 12 assists and everything, but off the pick and roll, he's very dangerous too.
All right. Are there ever any times where you're watching a guy and say, I want to see if I can kind of add that element to my game? What this guy is doing, is there any one guy that you watch and kind of say, hey, I model my game a little bit after him?
Yeah, I try to be, energized on the court like Russell. I try to add the energy and just, the intensity. That's what I really focus on, and try to be a more smarter player, like you said, like I said about Ja.
All right.
Add the floaters in there. So
Russell Westbrook is his guy. Are you on social media?
yes, sir.
All right. Where are you at? Where can we find you on social media?
On Instagram, it's @Caldwell_boy2.
Say it again.
That Caldwell
That Caldwell underscore
boy2.
boy and the number 2.
Mm-hmm.
That Caldwell underscore boy 2.
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll see if we can get you a follower or two.
Yes, sir.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Alex.
you.
We appreciate it, and we'll
Yes,
see you
sir.
Thursday night at the Show Me Center.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's we'll talk with Coach Rick Ray. Thanks to Alex Caldwell. Back to wrap it up with Coach Rick Ray after this from SEMO ESPN, the Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings. next Monday in the Cape Girardeau Wings, etc. location. You've got Austin Peay and Murray State coming this week, Coach. Austin Peay Thursday, Murray State Saturday. When you saw the schedule, what did you think? That, boy, you play Austin Peay and Murray State back-to-back, 2 consecutive weeks, and then that's it. I mean, your big arch rival, Murray State, you don't see him anymore after the second week of January.
Yeah, I just don't think it's something that should happen. I know that the OVC hired out these mathematicians to do the algorithms and make sure that they come up with these schedules. But there's something, that just basketball-wise doesn't make sense that you have to, throw out the window. So I know mathematically the way they had this system in play, it obviously makes sense. But when you look at it from a fan perspective and then also rivalry perspective, it just doesn't make sense. So I think you have to, throw some of those things out the window. I don't think it's good for our league to have your rivalry games done in 3 weeks. I mean, it's over with now.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
I
so
totally agree. And I used to always get disappointed if Murray came on a Thursday.
yes.
It's got to be on a Saturday.
Right. I agree. And then also the fact that it's happening for both schools when your students are not here.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it needs to be done a semester. And I know at some point in time there's something that's not going to happen that's right for one school or the other. But for this to happen for both schools where the students are not there and you're on semester break, I just didn't think make a ton of sense.
All right, your thoughts on Austin Peay on Thursday? You just saw them. I mean, you don't have to comment on this. They don't look as good as they were last year. Maybe they are. Maybe they're better. They've got a bunch of new names. So does Murray State. But they've got Terry Taylor, and, a lot of people around the OVC think Terry Taylor is the best player in this conference.
Yeah, I was looking at scrolling across the bottom. I was watching some sort of game. I think it was Notre Dame, and they had the leading scorers in the nation. And I think he's maybe the 8th leading scorer in the nation. So anytime you have somebody like that's proficient at scoring
and he's a double-digit rebounder.
Yes. So he's a load and he's a problem. And then obviously because you spend so much time and effort trying to game plan against him, he makes everybody on the court better because you're going to have to help on him with the way he can create offense for himself. But he also ends up creating offense for others because you have to spend a ton of attention to him.
All right, we're going to get a prediction on the big football game tonight. What do you think, LSU and Clemson? I know who you're rooting for. What's your prediction?
I think it'll be somewhere in the range of a 38-35, 38-34 game. But I think just because LSU is just so explosive on the offensive end that they'll end up pulling it out.
So you're rooting for Clemson, but gun to your head, you would pick LSU.
Yeah, there's no question what my rooting interest is. I'm rooting for Clemson, but I just think that LSU is probably on a historic run with their offense.
But if Clemson wins, Dabo Swinney cannot play the little old Clemson card anymore, right? He can't do it.
It can't do it now. I mean, he already can't do
Okay.
it. I mean, you've won 2 of the past 3 national championships, and you're undefeated. I just think that obviously – He in the psychology with his team, it works for them.
Yeah, it works great.
I know some other people in the media are getting tired of the fact that, they're seeing them as underdogs and little old Clemson, the Roy bus, the rest of y'all bus and things like that. But what does it matter if it's working for his team and his fan base? That's all that matters. If you're reaching your team and you're reaching your fan base with that, then go with that.
That's all that matters. Mm-hmm. Coach, thanks so much. We thanks Alex Caldwell for his time as well, and we'll see you over at the Show Me Center on Thursday.
Thank you very much.
All right, Coach Rick Ray, and that is going to do it here from Wings, Etc. Stay tuned. We've got the Stephen A. Smith Show coming up next on ESPN Radio. So long, everybody, from Wings, Etc.